Welcome to the EdTech Throwdown. Join us, Eric Guise and Nick Johnson, as we dive into today's best EdTech tools, tips, and practices. We do the research so you can teach your class. Remember to follow us on social media like Instagram, X, or Facebook by looking for the handle @EdTech Throwdown. Now please enjoy the show.
Welcome to the EdTech Throwdown. This is episode 201 called Tech or Treat, 8 EdTech Tools for the Classroom Teacher, Part 1. In this episode, we will go EdTech Trick or Treating with a new list of EdTech tools that can enhance, engage, and save time. This is another episode you don't want to miss. Check it out.
All right, so we are back with episode 201. Nick, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Speaking of Halloween, are you going trick-or-treating tonight?
Absolutely. You can't avoid it when you have a 4, almost 5-year-old. So we're doing it. We're heading to like a nearby town with some of her school friends. And it's actually the first time we've done that. So I don't know what that means for me. Like, am I going to be, I guess the parents just walk in a big group behind the kids? With the kids? I mean, you tell me. Have you ever been in this situation?
Oh, yeah. We've been going for years now. I'm a seasoned pro at the trick-or-treating. So are you dressing up as anything?
I also don't know that. I have no costume planned, but I'll try to put something together if I need to know what these other parents are doing. Like, I don't want to show up and be the only guy not in a costume.
So my suggestion is you just make it very simple costume, like a nonchalant, almost like they don't know if you're wearing a costume, but maybe you are.
Kind of like what you're wearing right now.
Yeah. I have a Happy Gilmore jersey. It's very easy. I do feel weird because it is Boston, but I love Adam Sandler. And I do not like Boston anything. I like being up in Boston.
Sure.
But I won't say Boston while being up in Boston. It's kind of like the Yankee way.
Right.
But
yeah. I mean, you can like the town without liking the sports teams.
That's true.
So
I do love the town up there. But, each year what we do is we start off at a neighbor's house, and then everyone in the neighborhood just goes to that house, and we leave all our candy out on our doorsteps.
Yep.
And then all the kids run around the neighborhood. We have like 20 houses, and we make enough bags for the kids in our neighborhood. No one else stops up there.
Right.
So we just make it worth their while to go there. Everything's already individually packaged with kids' names on it and everything.
Oh, that's cool because you know exactly who the kids are going to be.
Yeah, and then we'll put a bowl of candy out in case there are a couple of, people from outside of our neighborhood.
Gotcha.
But there hardly ever is. And the kids make out very well, and usually we're done in an hour. And a lot of the kids will go to a neighboring neighborhood and continue. Usually my kids are done. But this year I have a feeling they're going to want to go more. So we'll probably go to that neighborhood. But each year we typically have a family costume. This is our first year that we don't have a themed family costume. We did the Wizard of Oz. We did Ghostbusters. I mean, we've done a lot of different things, but this year they're independent. I think my youngest kid's costume, he's like Jack from whatever that Minecraft, what is it?
Oh, yeah. I don't know Minecraft well enough.
Is it Minecraft? Is that the block making one?
Yeah, that's like the
Jack's
big one.
Chicken? He's the Jack's Chicken guy.
I know the chicken is Minecraft, but...
Yeah, so that's what he's doing. Anyway, it's going to be a good time. And today's episode, we're going to get into kind of the EdTech trick or treat here. We call it EdTech or Treat. We do these episodes from time to time. We have a list of 24 tools that we came up with. I think there's actually 25, but let's say 24 just for the purpose of we're going to do the next couple of episodes, 8 tools at a time, because we don't want the episode to be an hour and a half long. We'll try to shoot to keep it around 25 minutes or less. We'll see if we can do it. That's my challenge to you. But before we get into this segment, let's take a listen to the Teach Better Podcast Network, and we'll be right back.
This podcast is a proud member of the Teach Better Podcast Network. Better today, better tomorrow, and the podcast to get you there. You can find out more at teachbetter.com/podcasts. Now let's get back to the episode.
All right, so we are officially back for the tech or treat portion of this. So this is the EdTech version of Guise and I walking down the street, ringing doorbells, knocking on different doors, and just kind of seeing what we get. And how that fits in is we just pulled these from a variety of places. A lot of these came from a recent digital EdTech conference that we were a part of and attended. And these are the ones that stood out. Some are familiar ones to the show that maybe we haven't talked about in a while. Some are brand new to the show that we've never talked about. And I think it's going to be a good one. Maybe I'll start off with one of mine first because we kind of claimed for a piece. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
All right, so that's good. Then I'll kick it off with my first one, which is called Study Fetch. You can find it at studyfetch.com. Right at the top of the website, it says that this is backed by College Board, which I find very interesting, and I'd like to know what that means. If you're not a high school teacher and you're not familiar, College Board, they do many things, a lot of different testing. The main one being, I don't know if the main one, but a huge one being AP exams. So I don't know how that fits in. Maybe they're just funding this as a way for students to study in general. But Study Fetch looks cool. It's going to do, I feel like it's basically, to me, this seems like Notebook LM, which if you don't know, in Notebook LM, it's an AI tool. So you bring in resources, and from those resources, it makes stuff like summary videos, summary podcast audio, mind maps. You can chat with those documents. It seems like Study Fetch is doing that, but more in this website setting that is specifically designed for teachers and students. Now, Notebook LM, heavily used by teachers and students, but its roots are as a research tool. So if you were writing a research paper, it's there to help you. The roots of Study Fetch are clearly just straight up studying. So they have a nice little demo on the main page that you can check out if you want to get a feel for it, where you pull in a bunch of resources, documents. So these would be, of course, your documents that you use for your class or, the assessment, whatever it is. And then from that, it starts creating stuff, and it can make many different things. It can make summary videos. It can make interactive flashcards. It can make study plans. It can make practice quizzes. It can make a series of guided notes. It can make a study calendar. And then that calendar, it looks like it actually exports to Google Calendar. I'm not sure I would be using that because a lot of our kids don't use calendars. If your students do, then that might be cool. It's even got games, and that's where it's maybe has a leg up on Notebook LM. It'll make a study game from your materials, and it's all just sort of enclosed within this Study Fetch platform. Again, I can do most of this with LM, but not all. So that's where Study Fetch would have a leg up. And also the fact it's specifically designed for schools, for students to use. I think that gives it a leg up too, because maybe that interface is going to be a little bit, simpler, or, not worrying about as much as you might have to worry about on a more generalized AI tool like LM. And the list goes on of other things that they can create. Boy, which actually is more than LM now that I'm looking at it. They can make visuals, matching games. You can actually record a live lecture, so you can go in and talk, and then it's going to use your recording to create study materials for the students. This is pretty cool. I usually don't like to expand beyond a few key tools that I use all the time, every time, and Notebook LM certainly is one of those, but this definitely gives me pause to try to at least consider giving it a look. As far as pricing goes, you can go to their website, studyfetch.com, and click on this big blue button right now that says try for free and sign up and see how it goes. They've got all kinds of backing and support and places that they've been published and featured and studies and success rates. It seems very well, looked into, we'll just say. And then there's a features list that I recommend you guys scroll through if you're looking into this thing. But if you're a teacher right now who has not yet sort of chosen what their AI tool of choice is going to be as far as using it as a learning aid and creating stuff for your students. Perhaps StudyFetch can be that tool. It looks pretty incredible. So that's studyfetch.com.
Yeah, that one's a great tool. I'm really glad that you brought up how it was different than Notebook LM with the gamification thing. That's the one thing that I want to check out with that tool that you just brought up, is how well does it actually bring games in using the content that you put into the tool. And I want to see if StudyFetch has a leg up on Canva AI where you can make games there as well.
Yeah.
The first one I'm going to bring up, it's called Guise Whiteboard Tool. Guise offers a suite of teaching resources and interactive whiteboards. This is a big digital whiteboard, lesson building tools, and a whole bunch of content-ready lessons in the form of a library. It's designed to bring the interactive whiteboard to life with tools, templates, quizzes, and games that all will engage students. So I went in, and it is a big whiteboard, and it's there, but the fact that it's like the Swiss Army knife of whiteboards. It brings all this other functionality. If you're into the younger grades where you need classroom management, it has a lot of those tools where you can control voice levels. It will pick up the voice levels of the students. You could set voice goals, and there's a lot of pictures there that will show them how loud they're being, and it will kind of get them to be quiet. There's a traffic light system. You can take attendance. There could be a seating chart there, buddy picker, name picker, timer, hourglass, group maker, calendar, today's date. So if you're doing morning meeting or something like that, I think this is a tool that is good for you. It has a whole bunch of different randomizers. There's a letter generator, there's dice, there's a spin a wheel. You can make a math problem generator and pull that up. You could also build lessons within there. You could have sticky notes. You could have scoreboards in there as well. There are games. You can play a game show, memory, kind of like the brain break type situations there. You can include different types of graphs on this digital whiteboard. And there's a lot of math manipulatives like rulers, triangle, protractor, half circle, protractor, compass, calculator, all those things. Plenty of clocks and timers and some money. And this is just naming a few of the tools there. You can go into the library and you can type in content areas and it will help you out there. There's a big section here for dyslexic support, which I really like because that's something that is near and dear to my heart. So I will be checking out those as well, but just so much things that you could do here. Another thing that I like is if you're a math teacher and you need graph paper and you want to project that up on the board, it has several different types of math or graph paper for math classes. There's live lessons that you could do on student devices at real time. They collaborate on it. There's a classroom quiz, an alpaca race, which gamifies the classroom a little bit. And you can add media as well. You could search YouTube videos, images, and audio that you can enter into there. So I could see this as a big morning meeting type thing. I could see this as a way for the upper grades to introduce new activities, maybe do like a case study where you have to have a hook at the beginning. So you grab a YouTube video with a couple questions, do nows, exit tickets, all that. So I think this is definitely one of the better ones that I've seen as far as like a one-stop shop for the whiteboard. Another thing I would use it for is screencasts. I think it would make an awesome tool for screencasts because it kind of has everything that you need right there when you're going over your presentation or anything like that. But it has the drawing tools. So if you have like a Wacom tablet or anything like that with the stylus that you can draw on, I think that would also make it a little bit better than like a Canva whiteboard because Canva whiteboards are a little clunky in my opinion, where you have to zoom in, zoom out and all that. This has a big Canva right there with all the tools. So check out Guise.com.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Canva whiteboard thing because I talked about that for a long time. But anytime I had students try to actually use it, my Lord, the issues with the Zooming were shocking. Like it was almost disastrous. A couple of lessons where I had the kids in different sections of the whiteboard, but man, they just struggled so much to be zooming in and zooming out and moving to get to the proper spot. I never would have considered that, but it's the kind of thing you wouldn't know unless you actually get in there where there's 24 people all in different spots trying to work. And I mean, our kids have Chromebooks and the screens are pretty small, and that was a factor in the whole thing. So I like that. And a lot of these other whiteboard tools, there's another one we've talked about before. I think it's called Miro, Miro. And it has like this, like a snap to feature where you can automatically, like it takes care of the zoom issue for you. And as the person running the whiteboard, you can snap all of the attendees' screens to the exact spot. And that zoom thing sort of goes away. It looks like Guise, this one you brought up today, is another cool option that does similar things, which is great. And Canva, if you're listening, maybe you could come up with something similar to that for your whiteboard tool so we could just stick with Canva, which of course I prefer to do. But that's a good share. Okay, my next one is called Teacher Share AI. This is an AI resource creator. We have many, but we always like to share them out when we find them because who knows what the next big one's going to be. Of course, this is designed specifically for educators to help you generate all your stuff. I use these less because I've been teaching for almost 15 years now and I have all my stuff. It's not perfect and I'm redoing it a lot, but the bones of things have been created already. If I was a new teacher, this is where I would be living. I would be in Teacher Share or I would be in, whatever. You choose the tool, Magic School, you choose whatever that's going to be. We've talked about many, and maybe this will be the one for you, but just letting it do all of that initial work for you. And I say that because all of us who started teaching without AI, we just poured in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of time into making stuff from scratch. And today, you do not have to do that. So when you go there, you're going to find two things. This is teachertool.ai, by the way. They're cataloging AI tools. So like one of the options, it'll say browse AI tools, and it's basically just like a list of all the different AI tools available for teachers. So I scrolled through there and I saw a lot of big common ones like Brisk and Conquer, which we've talked about before, Copilot, Curio, CurryPod, Diffit's on there. So like, here's all the tools. If you were looking for a comprehensive list of AI tools for educators, you can find them here. But you can also find most of those just by like Googling and looking things up. They have something that's more interesting to me, which is their own AI generator that creates resources for you based on just like a single prompt. It seems like they're calling this Teach Share to be specific, which is actually a totally different URL, teachshare.com. But they've got this like right at the top of their page, and this actually looks pretty great. You just type in one prompt, give it a couple bits of information like grade, the instructional purpose, the source materials, and how long you want it to take. And it's off. It's off to the races, and it starts creating these like interactive AI generated worksheets, which look really cool. Instant creation, you can differentiate them just, by basically clicking buttons. So as it goes, you can just like tap. You don't even have to put in a prompt. You just click and it adds in differentiated components to it as you go through. You can add in areas for deeper learning just with one click, no prompting by you. Flexible formats and they look really cool. There's a bunch of examples that they have that other teachers made. And it's just like this little self-enclosed teaching module that is created for you instantly. And then you can just share it out with your kids or print it or do whatever you want to do. So that's what caught my eye here with this teachershare.ai is teachshare.com. Looks pretty awesome. Like I said, if you're a new teacher, this is one that I would recommend taking a look and seeing if it's maybe what you'll stick with for generating your classroom resources.
Yeah, I agree with you on everything that you said as far as what stage you are in your career. You are an old head, and you have organized your curriculum in a way that you know where it's at and you know what needs to be done. And you're probably at the point where you just need to make the little tweaks to your lessons so it fits your class, because every class is different. So most times I see you in there making these little changes just to fit your current class and the needs that they have. Now, as that young teacher, yeah, it would be smart to go find one of these places that you are most comfortable with or fits your needs the best and kind of stick towards that. So I just want to reemphasize that you don't need to have 4 or 5, 6, 7 of these tools. Just get good at one of them and stay on that path. Let's go to my next one. It's called Gamma AI. I like this one because this is the first time I've taught AP since the COVID year. So it's been 4 or 5 years, and in 4 or 5 years, the science really hasn't changed, but the presentations look old as all get out. I mean, they look outdated. It looks a little better than 1996 in the first, blocky type, resources that we had from back then.
Sure.
But, Gamma, what I really like about it is it takes your outdated looking presentations, you upload it, and it will make you a new one and spruce it up a little bit, give it a little bit of life. So it saves you a lot of time there. You get 400 free credits for this right off the bat, and that will allow you to, do a few of these presentation sprucing ups. I don't know what the correct terminology is for that, but we're sprucing up presentations. And if that's all that you're after, I think, Gamma does a pretty fine job of doing that. I like that better than uploading it into a Canva and picking a new background, because oftentimes that will create just as much work as if you would just redo the presentation as a whole. But for Gamma, it does a really nice job at kind of making it look nice and current. So I like doing this for my review chapters because I really don't want to spend any more time on creating review stuff. So I'll do that. All the individual lessons and things like that, I'll just kind of copy and paste into Canva and spruce them up one lesson at a time as I go. And I only do that for the big topics that I want to go over as a class and reinforce in class. So chunking it it saves me a lot of time, I guess, or it doesn't feel like I'm using up a lot of time. And it helps me review the content material that I'm teaching. Got to stay sharp and polished. So use Gamma AI for the things that you want to look better, but you don't really want to spend a lot of time on.
If I was Canva right now, I'd be looking over my shoulder, just putting a little bit of a side eye on Gamma. Because Gamma, we talked about this, it's got to be at least a year ago, maybe more. And it was one of those things where I was like, I don't know, is this gonna be a thing, or is it just sort of gonna fall by the wayside? And we're bringing it up today again because it has not fallen by the wayside. Gamma AI has stuck around. It keeps popping up on more and more lists and blogs and teacher socials. It doesn't go away, and that's why we're sharing it again. Besides not going away, it's growing, and a lot of the stuff you talked about is new, and the AI is cool. The stuff looks great. It's not in the position Canva is as far as being almost ubiquitous in education, and I'm not saying it'll get there. I'm just saying, if I was Canva, I'd be watching it because it's definitely on a growth path. At least it seems to be from our outsider perspective. So it's a good one to know about. The next one is my favorite tool of the show, and it's called Deck Toys. Deck Toys for me accomplishes something that has almost been impossible for me to find, and there's lots of tools that get close. Deck Toys accomplishes that thing. What it lets you create is, most of them you'll see if you go to Deck Toys and their website, they look like maps primarily. It seems as though you can use any picture you want as the background for the map. So it doesn't have to be a map, but I think it's cool as a map. They almost look like game boards, or, you know, like if you're playing Catan or some game that has like that island map. Picture that. And then as the teacher, you get to set this path on top of the map with these waypoints. And at each waypoint, when the student clicks it, there's one that says start here. And it's interactive, so like there's motion and it's kind of moving around with like this little arrow that's pointing start here. So I'm the kid, I see this, it looks engaging. I see the little arrow pointing to start here. I click it and it gives me a thing to do. The thing to do could just be a resource you already have, like a Google Sheet with a few questions. Could be a little recorded bit of audio that they listen to. There's tons of different options. And then once they have done that and completed that one, it opens up, and this is the key, it opens up the next one. And they're little, you know, they progress along this path. They're in a new area of the map or whatever image you've chosen. And they just sort of move through this staged lesson within Deck Toys. The reason I like it is because I've tried to do this same thing with other tools, and I'll just keep picking on Canva, which I am doing today for some reason. You could do this in like a Canva design where there's clickable components, but what you can't do is lock everything after a certain point and have them open up only when the prior one has been completed. And that's been a big sticking point for me with lots of different lessons that I've tried to create in other, let's just say, platforms, but there's always that feature where the kid could, in theory, just kind of skip through and go in any order they want. I don't want that. I want, because especially as a chem teacher, everything is very linear. You got to know this thing before you can do that thing. And then after that thing, it leads to the next thing. So this is something I want a lot of the time. And Deck Toys does that. It looks very cool. Kind of has that video game-like feel to it. If you don't teach something that's linear, like chemistry, if you want many different paths, you can do that too. You could have one starting point, and then there's like 3 possible routes that the kids can take, which to me sounds just like some high-quality differentiation, where the kid gets to choose the path they take, and then all 3 of those paths converge at the same end goal along this map. Very, very cool. I wish you had shown me Deck Toys a few days ago, because I would have used it for what I'm doing this afternoon in my class. But that's a big one. Everybody check out Deck Toys. The official website I lost because I've been clicking around looking at their examples. It looks like it's just deck.toys. So check it out.
Yeah, as you were talking about deck.toys, I made an escape room on my next lesson, which was the carbon, phosphorus, and nitrogen cycles. Super cool. Yeah. Super quick. And it looks nice.
Yeah, it looks very nice. It looks good.
Nice.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so I'm definitely going to check out this one. I just can't believe this.
How have we not, is this new? How have we not heard of Deck Toys?
We're decking out some toys right now.
Right.
I can't wait to come back to this after the episode and continue playing. We're going to go to my next one. And how often do you get asked by teachers about, there's this poster, but all I could do is make it 8.5 by 11 because, you know, that's all that we have.
Constant asking.
That type of thing. So this is called rasterbaiter.net. All right, and rasterbaiter.net will blow up a 8.5 by 11 size poster, and it will make it whatever size you want it. And then it will automatically convert it into a whole bunch of 8.5 and 11 by 11. So if you wanted that 8.5 by 11 4 times the size, it will do that, and it will print out that poster using only 8.5 by 11 sheets that you can then tape together. Now, if you have a laminator but not a big poster plotter, that's okay. Tape them together, throw it through the laminator, you got yourself a poster. But me personally, as an escape room, you know, I love escape the rooms, making them. I now have a way to make a puzzle where, you know, each time they solve a clue, they get 3 or 4 of these 8.5 by 11s, and at the end they have to put it together to solve some other type of a puzzle to get out of the room. I love it. So check out rasturbator.net. I'm not going to say too much more about it, but I just think that this is a great tool. It solves the problem of not having a poster plotter, and it also solves the problem or adds a new functionality to people's escape the rooms if they're still making them without going completely digital.
Love it. That's always a good one to share out. And I'll just get into my final one, which I'll do quickly because it's pretty simple. It's called Lurex. I guess that's how you say it. Loorex. Would you go Lurex on that?
I mean, Lurex or Lorex?
Lorex? Lorex? You say
tomato.
There you go. But it's an online test engine, test generator. This is going to be a niche use if this is something you're in the market for or not. But if you are in the market for it, or if you don't like maybe whatever your district has now for generating online tests, it does look pretty good. They have some major benefits like being mobile compatible. So whatever questions you create in there would look good on no matter what the setting, whether it's on a phone or a Chromebook or a laptop or whatever. Test editor, test publisher, different exam series. You can make a free account. You can import tests from other platforms. So if you're trying to switch to a new testing platform, like maybe you're developing a series of district benchmark exams that follow kids through their time and you don't know what platform to use. You have your old exams in some other format, even if it's just like a PDF print, like a digital PDF that you printed out from that old format. You can import them in there and Lurex will convert those and then you can edit from there. So it looks like a cool thing. I've never heard of Lurex, but I will say I do not like the test generator that our school has now. I will not name them, just so we don't start throwing shade around too much on our show, because we try to stay away from that. And Lurex looks pretty good. I don't use it, but it seems like it has a lot of stuff that appeals to me. As a math science person, I can see lots of examples with equations, which is always the toughest part. So check it out. Anybody in the market for that, Lurex.com.
I mean, it's one of those ones that if you know, you know, and if you like, you like, and if you use, you use.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot of them out there, but if it's one that you like and you like the look of, the workflow, you'll use it. We're going to get into my last one. It's kind of a fun one. This is one that kind of reminds me of your opener of your lesson from a couple weeks ago where you had 4 pictures of different desserts and they had to try to put them in groups or say which one's the odd one out. This is a little different. This is called tiermaker.com. And what you could do is go in there and they have all these, like the one I'm looking at right now is called 2025 Official Halloween Candy Poll. All right. And at the bottom, there's pictures of different Halloween candies. And then up top, you have this rating system where filling up my bucket, gimme dat. Yes, these are good. I'll eventually eat it. I'll trade you 3 of these for something else. Last left in my stash and in the trash. So what you do is drag, like right now, I'm looking at 3 Musketeers and I'm throwing that right in the trash. So what you do is you grab it by clicking on it and then you assign it to a category by color. There's an apple. I like apples. I'll fill up my bucket with an apple. And you just keep going through these and you could see like the total votes live. You can make it a live one, so you can throw it up on your whiteboard, give them some type of a poll link, and you can go from there. So once you log in, just like anything else, it's going to give you a sharing URL or code that the kids can do, and then you can start your fun Friday Halloween day off with the candy poll and you know, get some personalization. Maybe take a couple of jokes at a couple of kids who actually like the Almond Joy candy bar or whatever, 3 Musketeers. That's just weird. I don't even know why they make that candy. Like,
Pointless.
It's nonstop. You get the variety bag.
Yep.
You lay all the candy out, and I don't monitor my candy bowl. If someone comes in, dumps it all in their bag, that candy went somewhere. I feel good about it. All right. But for some reason, they'll take the whole candy bowl. They'll leave the Three Musketeers there. It always happens. I don't want the Three Musketeers. Just take them with you. Give them to your little brother who doesn't know what a Three Musketeers bar is.
Yep.
Am I wrong here?
You're not wrong. I'm with you 100% on that. But this does look cool. The visual way that it visually tallies the votes is nice. I like this, and I could see using this for fun little things in class for sure. So I'm a fan of TierMaker immediately, having looked at it for just 30 seconds right now. It's also super easy to use. It would take no training for your kids. You give them the link, they go, they start voting, and you can see all that stuff live on the screen. Looks awesome. So I think does that wrap it up? Are we good for today's list of 8, right? We'll carry on next time?
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
Okay, let's close it out then, everybody. Don't forget to stay tuned for the next 2 episodes, which will be part 2, and then again, yes, part 3, with the final list of all 24 of these tools. As always, thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to the EdTech Throwdown. Do us a couple of favors. Subscribe to our podcast on any major podcast catcher such as Apple, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and Stitcher. Go over to YouTube, search the EdTech Throwdown, subscribe to the channel. You can connect with us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. The show's handle is EdTech Throwdown. You can connect with Guise at GuiseGotTech, Nick at NickGotTech. You can write us an Apple Podcast review. You could tell your friends about www.edtechthrowdown.com. And lastly, go over and check out our friends over at the Teach Better Podcast Network, a network that we are so proudly involved with. Until next time, remember, go try some EdTech because we will do the research so you can teach your class.